Live. I can't seem to get my rooster crow to go everywhere today. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Impact Makers Summit. Today is the kickoff for the live, right? So today we're just going to be talking about a few things, and I'm here with Michelle V. We're going to do a quick interview just to kind of walk you through everything, but let's get some housekeeping going, right? So the summit is an on-demand play with over 30 plus speakers going into the 50 plus speakers throughout the next 2 weeks. Just looking at everything that we're doing as coaches, speakers, authors, consultants, everybody in the industry right now is doing something to make their impact in the world. But why? Why are they out there making this impact? Why are they out there helping people? Because we're best suited to help those people that we used to be, right? Those coaches that we used to be, the speakers, everything that you need to do to actually have an impact in the world so that you feel fulfilled. And this is truly something that I always say to people. It's like WIIFM. There's a reason why you're on this journey. What's in it for me? And most impact makers, most of the people, and this was just something that I just talked about on a show that I was on with David Meltzer, is that we all do it for a reason. Because we need that peace inside of us. We need to be able to teach that peace to another human so that we fulfill inside, right? So that fulfillment happening, that love, that transfer of energy to this other person that you're helping, whether you're helping them with their tech, their trauma, their life, their diet, their speech, their coaching business, we're all here to make a big impact. And this is one of the best things about our business is that this knowledge-based business, transferring the knowledge into other people is why we all serve the way we do. It's why we get up on those stages, write those books, do the things that we do on a daily basis to do, have, and be the people that we see ourselves as in our visions, the people that we were meant to be. So being an impact maker isn't just about being a speaker. It isn't just about being a coach. It's not just about being an author. It's about changing the lives of the people that you work with and growing from it. Without growth, there can be no contribution, right? And without that vision of this dream that I want to bring to life, without that vision, the people will perish. So this Impact Maker Summit is kicking off today with just this bonus interview with me and Michelle. And then we're going to be launching throughout the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday bonuses, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're going to see speakers from all different niches making their impact in the world. But today, I wanted to come on for this bonus section for you guys, just to kick the week off, right? A beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Let's get in there and go for it, right? So, Michelle, how's your Tuesday going?
Hey, it is going great. I do some homeschool. We built a spaceship downstairs. I said, go build a spaceship out of boxes, and my whole living room is full of boxes. So there we go. But I love what you were saying today about, I was getting so jazzed up about this. I'm so excited to hear everybody's um, their spotlight speech and just really hear everybody's message because I truly believe like you do, Brandon. I always think of those people that are, my people that are literally sitting on the bathroom floor sobbing in that moment of just pure hell where you're at your lowest of low. And they literally are speaking your name without knowing it, right? They're like, oh man, I wish someone would teach me how to make a bigger impact. I wish someone would help me with my health. I wish they'd help me get past this mindset barrier, make more money, or whatever it is. They're like literally calling out the thing that you do, and they're praying for something to change in their lives. And especially with the way the world is changing right now, with just so many uncertainties and just things are culminating and it's crazy in the world. I just really believe that it's these relationships, it's the impact, it's especially the business owners who are going to make the impact for this next century. And so I'm just like, I just love getting to to talk to you guys, to hear all the things that you're doing and just lift each other together so that we can be out there creating that impact that the world needs right now. So just really looking forward to hearing everybody's stuff too, because everybody has their own journey and their specific way of doing things. And I know whenever I listen to everybody, I'm like, ooh, that's so cool. I want to coach with them. Ooh, that's so cool. I want to coach with them. Like, what are they doing over here? I just want to hire everyone whenever I hear them because I love
Oh,
all of
it's
it.
so true too. Like you said, the person on the bathroom floor crying, right? Who would have thought the very first time I broke down as a coach was like when I had to build a webinar. And I was like, can't I just go on there and talk? And they're like, no, you have to have this structure. You need to learn this. And I'm like,
Ah.
until I found the person, right, that could
Right.
transfer the knowledge into me with ease so that I could have the impact that I wanted from this webinar. And I remember that first coach coming to me and saying, look, you're good, but you're not great. And in order to do a webinar, you got to do it great. And you're allowed to stumble and slip on your words and do all these things if the framework is there. And I was like, the framework. And I remember having my entertainment room, and there was like 171 pages printed out of this webinar.
Oh
And I
my
was walking each one like, okay, I'm going to say this, then I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to come back to this one, and then I'm going to circle back. So that it was just this long, it took me over 2 months. And then I hired the coach, and we were done in 2 weeks. He shredded my webinar
I was
down
just
to
gonna say
nothing.
that sounded awful. That experience that you just walked through, I was
It
just
was
like,
so
oh my
bad.
God.
It was the equivalent of me crying on the floor in the bathroom, right? I was
Oh yeah.
stressed out. I was eating lunch, looking at the webinar slides, going through them one by one by one. I was doing dinner that way. And then somebody came in and just said, let me remove all that out of there and let's
Mm.
structure these 3 frames. And then you go be you. And I'm like,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
and
Oh,
that's why there's speakers in the world. That's why these authors write these books. That's why these coaches are transferring this knowledge into people, is because we truly need guidance as human beings. We'll learn quick, but with the right pattern, we'll learn faster. You're homeschooling. I'm homeschooling a kid right now. And I'm going, why are they doing all that when they could just do this for 1 hour a day and there won't even be any homework and she'll learn 10 times more? And then we'll go to this museum. We'll go to this train place. We'll go down to this site where Mark Twain was. We'll go to the Gold Rush area. Like those kind of experiences, those teach education. No,
yeah.
is
We
the
could go on
educational
about
system
homeschool.
broke? I'm
We need
not
a
even
homeschool
going
summit.
there. Why is our industry blowing up? Why are people seeking out speakers, authors, and coaches to learn from? Because the traditional way of learning is old school.
Yes.
You want to know
So
one of the biggest teachers in the world right now is? YouTube.
yes, you were talking about experience, Brandon. You're always saying the experience economy, but that's 100% what it is because, oh man, we could go on and on about school, but you're right. Like the way that school was set up, it's like, here's your test, here's your paper, here's this, and you memorize stuff and you're taught not to fail. I've been so like with my kids when I brought them home, they both broken down crying when they got their math problems wrong. And I was like, what are we doing? What did we do to our children that they can't even get a math problem wrong? Right? If you're making that webinar and you get it wrong the first time and you're crying in the bathroom after one math, one slide is wrong, then you're not going to make it very far in the business space.
Yeah,
And so what we really need is that experiential learning to come back. They don't teach you how to do all this stuff in the real world. The real world stuff you don't learn at school. And so people are turning online, they're turning to YouTube, they're turning to coaches. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick of doing stuff alone. When
yeah,
I went on my health journey, I did it alone and it took me 20 years pretty much to figure it
absolutely.
out.
And one of the biggest things I'm doing right now is the kickoff of this summit is the kickoff of the Impact Maker Society. Like where we all just support each other and we talk about the events that we're doing and success. This is something I taught early on in my coaching industry is the very first slide I would say is look, we're all successful here and successful people celebrate each other. They root each other on. They want to see each other succeed and they're willing to give to each other to help them. Even when it's a direct competitor, guess what? Help them and your business will grow. They'll help you and their business will grow. So building these communities is probably one of the most important things that's around.
Yes.
Everyone knows one of my best slogans for all my t-shirts was community made. Like I love the Impact Maker shirt, but I love the community made one, which I wear on Friday this week. And it's really just building that community up so that when you're out there speaking, you have a bunch of ambassadors that are like, Michelle changed my life. Scott changed my life. Steve planted a seed in me that has changed my life forever. And I know for myself, I like to go to events even when I don't know the speaker personally because I want to hear that transfer of knowledge. I want to hear their story. It's no different than at church, right? The testimonial of another person just hits home with you and you're like, can't believe they went through that. I would have never known. And now I feel so much closer to that person. Awesome stuff. And I love to kick it off this way. But I really want to dig in with you. I know with your academy and everything that you're doing and the teaching that you do with speakers, it's just one of those things that's growing right now. So I got a big question for you. And I put it right on this post as we posted it today. Why is speaking one of the best ways to grow your business? Why is that, Michelle?
Yes, I love that question so much. And it goes back to what we were just talking about with we were talking about experience. It's an experience for your people, their captive audience as well. That you said, I go because I want to hear their story, I want to hear what they're doing, I want to have that experience. And the transfer of knowledge, I think for me, I don't know about you, but I don't love, courses, or I get distracted online, or I start doing something, and most of us have like ADHD, right, in the entrepreneur space, right? So you just get distracted, and people are getting so distracted online. Whenever they're on Facebook, they're scrolling and they're spending like 2 seconds on your post, right? Or maybe they see you somewhere else and they spend a few more minutes, but they're not spending very much time with you and this dedicated time. So it's really a win for them, and it's a win for you whenever you can use speaking when they come to an event, whether that's in person or virtual like this one. They're captivated, right? They've got, whether they're on Zoom or they're like this with the summit, you're the only thing on the screen. And then they're listening to you for 12 minutes, 20 minutes, 50 minutes, 90 minutes. I've even done a 4-hour online event before, and they sat and listened to me for 4 hours. Okay, right? So talk about a captivated audience. You can really change their lives. You can really move them quickly because they're actually focused on the thing that you're saying. And as an attendee, I love that because it's like, hey, can you compress time for me? Can you give me a big win in 10 minutes and 20 minutes and 4 hours? Can you give me a win in 4 hours that maybe it was going to take me weeks to get? So for them, it's like it's compressing time. It's that captivated audience. And at the same time, we always talk about know, like, and trust, right? Like build that know, like, and trust, build that know, like, and trust. And they've shown that it takes anywhere from 4 to 7 hours, typically on average, people exposed to you and your work before they want to work with you. And so being able to get on stage and speak with them really compresses that time as well, and helps them know you, like you, trust you. You also have instant authority, where the trust comes back in, right? If I'm hanging out with Brandon and he's hanging out with all these other cool people, and you're on this Impact Maker Summit with these other big names, and you're up there and your picture's right there next to them, then they're like, ooh, who's that speaker? Because I know Brandon and I know he's up here and you're right up here with him. So you must be like Brandon, right? And so your authority's up there. The other thing that it's reason, we're going to talk about money also. Don't worry, we'll talk about money as well to grow your business. But just in general, right? It's your marketing. It can be your marketing, because you get on stage, you can captivate them. So it's your conversion, right? And it's your sales. And the other thing that it really does for you is that it saves you time, right? So instead of one-to-one, it's one-to-many. Instead of doing 1,000, sending out 1,000 messenger conversations, or being in a bunch of groups having 1,000 little different conversations, and 30 minutes each, that takes you 30 minutes each to have each of those conversations, you get to spend 30 minutes in front of 1,000 people. And you just, again, compress time. And it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, you just nailed it for a second there. It's like the whole thing makes so much sense to you, right? But I started thinking about this right when it triggered in your mind. Some of the best coaches I hired, I saw them speaking next to a coach that I couldn't afford. Here's Tony Robbins, but then here's Brian Delaney. here's Tony Robbins, then here's Mark Hack, and then Mark Lack, and then Mark Jefferson, and all these people that I've worked with throughout the years. Because, you know, I'm up in the age range here in the speaker realm. I mean, I'm definitely not at the Bob Proctor level, getting ready to step off the stage, which rest in peace. But there are a lot of them that are stepping down right now, right? There's a lot of people retiring out of coaching industry and speaking industry because we followed the legends, but the
Mm-hmm.
legends were in their 50s back when we started, and they were in their 60s, and they went into their 70s and 80s, and like the great Zig Ziglar. But how did I learn about the up and coming ones was seeing them speaking in other places, seeing them on a podcast, seeing them at a summit, seeing them in a master class. And back for the big phase that was the challenges, right? Other speakers out there getting it done, right? So how do you start? So my next question for you, Michelle, and this is interview style for those of you guys that are watching, because this is a bonus section for you guys. How do you get started as a speaker? Now, for me, I didn't know anyone that was going to put me on a stage. So I made my own. I used what was available to me, right? MySpace. Just kidding.
MySpace, yes, that was the great stuff back then.
It's like
So,
Facebook had just come out when I was starting to coach. I mean, I don't even know when Facebook came out, but I resisted it.
oh
And I
yeah.
was like, you know what? I've got a conference room. I'm going to start speaking in my conference room. And back then we used Meetup. That was the first one to come out. It was like Meetup. And we just started speaking.
Yeah.
There's
100%.
nothing to stop you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the top things that really, and I say this in all of the programs that I do, but typically the reason that you hire a coach isn't because the actual steps are all that hard to figure out, but it's because you're not doing the steps for whatever reason. And so I think just getting started as a speaker, or maybe you're already a speaker, but you want to take it to the next level. I think the top reasons people aren't really jumping in, they're not really getting started, or they're not getting to that next level that they need to be at is number one, they're either afraid to speak, right? They want to be a speaker. I just met someone on this retreat this last weekend. I did the keynote there, and then she came up to me and she's like, "Oh, I would love to speak. I used to speak as a kid. I was so outgoing, and then I lost my voice." Right? I lost my voice. I lost my confidence. Someone told me I wasn't great, So we have these internal issues going on where we're afraid to speak, to get on stage. And the second thing is we just don't know where to get speaking gigs, right? So Brandon's like, I don't know. I don't know anyone who has a stage. I don't know where to get speaking gigs. What do I need to do? And then the third one is even if you do know where the stage is, you don't have your stuff together, right? So maybe I want to be getting on this stage with all the top people, but I don't have my branding, I don't have my page, I don't have my speaker page, I don't have a web page. My LinkedIn looks like trash. It's not really any traction. I don't look super amazing on there, right? And so there's some things that you need to get together, just like whenever you apply for a job or something, you've got to have your stuff together so that whenever you apply, you look like you're a speaker, a professional speaker. And then the other reason that people aren't or maybe not getting on stages is that they're just not doing it, which is what we talked about. And one of the things, so I think honestly, to get started as a speaker, I know several coaches talk about this, but I know Tim Ferriss used to talk about this a lot too, but it's called the big domino. He's always thinking about the big domino. What's the one thing, right? So here's all the things. I'm afraid to speak. I don't know where to speak. I have to get my stuff together. I don't know. Like I'm not doing it of all the things. And so there's all these dominoes that you need to knock down in order to really start speaking and become a paid speaker, a highly paid speaker, and get your message out there and have your impact on all the things we talked about. But there's all these dominoes. And so Tim Ferriss is like, hey, I sit around and I spend a lot of my time thinking, what's the big domino? What's the one thing that I can do that's going to knock down all these other things and just guarantee that I do all these other things? And so we've already been talking, we're all coaches here, right? We love the value of coaching, right? We've already been talking about coaching, but like, what if you joined a program, right? What if you joined a program that was going to help you do all those things? What if you found a coach? What if you joined a program? What if you hired someone that's going to do all those things, right? Then it just knocks all those down. You're able to work with them. You get out there and speak. You're not afraid. They'll help you get speaking gigs. They'll help you put your stuff together. They'll follow up with you whenever you fall off the face of the earth into your own pit of mindset issues. They'll be like, hey, what's up? Let's get you back on track. So obviously there's a lot of different ways to get started, but I just wanted to throw out there that the big domino really is just find your person. Like you're talking about before, find your person. It's not how, it's who. It's not how to get started, it's who, right? Who to get started with.
Yeah, and you're nailing it right now, is because whenever there's an industry, right, there's also sub industries. And this took me, I mean, I fought this for the first year as a coach. I was an entrepreneur. I had a big ego. I could coach. I'm a trainer. I've been training people forever. I'm going to go out and become this virtual online coach and do my stages. And I had my radio show. So just like now, I teach, have your own stage, have your online stage, and then speak on other people's stage, the trifecta. I was like, I'm going to go do all that. But even just before this call, I was on an open office. And there was one thing that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to become the tech guy. I didn't want to become the marketer. I didn't want to become the framework builder, the SOP builder. I didn't want to be the one hat fits everything in the company because I knew I wouldn't be as successful doing it. So I thought about, like, whenever I was going into a restaurant, I'm going to buy a restaurant and I'm going to bring it up to speed and revamp it. The first thing I did is I went out and find a restaurateur coach to say, hey, what would you do with this place? And this is no different than like one of my favorite old school shows, the bar rescue guy, right? He comes
Mhm.
in, sees what you're doing wrong, fixes it, yells at you a little bit, and then you go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to fix my life and I'm going to have the best bar in town. Oh, guess what? As a coach, I wasn't willing to do that the first year. So the epiphany that happened to me is, he said, what don't you want to do? And I wrote down all these things that I didn't like doing. And he goes, guess what? There's a sub company that does everything on that list and they do it well. So go get that coach who has that company to come work with you and watch how scalable you become. Because if you've got the speech, you've got the book, and you are a good coach, now all you got to do is build that community, the course, and start coaching. But in order to do that, you got to get the mentorship out of it, right? So looking at all those things and going, okay. And I planned this interview, but it actually sets you up for the next question, Michelle. How do you make a reliable and uncapped income as a speaker? 100%. Like, how do you do it? Because if you have a modality that you teach on, right? This one thing that you're able to transfer into another person, well, how do you make that reliable when you have to depend on you?
Yeah, so I think you brought up some of it already, which is just like the structural piece of don't try to be the one man show and actually have a team and a community or JVs or partnerships. That's definitely a coach who can show you how to do it. That's definitely a big part of it. But I think just kind of going back to basics, excuse me. In general, like how do you make money as a speaker? I know I always wanted to be a speaker. Like I would just love to do workshops and it would be so cool if all I had to do all day was just speak and teach people my thing and coach. And like, wouldn't that be cool if that's all we had to do all day long and then money just like dropped in my lap? That would be amazing, right? So, but there's just two ways. There's two ways that people with two categories, ways that you can make money as a speaker. One is what we touched, is what most people think about, and that is, hey, you just get paid, you get on paid stages, right? If I can just get, someone will pay me $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, or as that, maybe I can just get better and better as a speaker, and I can just get on as many stages as possible and then book myself as a speaker. And even Tony Robbins, right, he makes like $250,000. So Myron Gold he charges $250,000 for his speaking gigs. If you want to bring him out as your keynote, you're gonna have to pay him $250,000 plus his jet fee, right? And so, like, once you get up there, yeah, you're making some good money off of it. So a lot of people are like, yes, that's the dream, that's what I'm gonna do. But then I think we get discouraged because it's like, oh, how long did it take Tony Robbins to charge $250,000 or more to do speaking gigs? And so what Brandon was talking about, the trifecta, is there's other ways. It's not just the money that you make on the stage. It's not just your speaking fee that gives you money as a speaker, but it's actually the stuff that happens off of other people's stages, the stuff that happens on your stage? Can I take them off of that stage and, pull people in from the stage into my space and sell them my products? Because did you know Tony Robbins, he has his own stage, right? He gets on other people's stages and then he has his own stage and he says the same speech that he does over and over and over, right? He's done the same retreats for years and years and years and years, but everybody keeps coming back. So they come to his 2-3 day thing and then they buy into his program. So he has this stage. He gets on other people's stages, he brings them to his own stage, and then from his own stage he's making, I don't have his stats, but I know he's making 10 million, 20 million, 40 million. I've seen Russell Brunson make $40 million off of his stage. So that's where the real money is made, is on your own stage with your own programs. And I think it's similar, like they say with a book, right? You write a book and you can make money by selling your book, but the more money is made on bringing people into your space and selling your programs and your offers from the book is just your marketing. And then they come into your space and you sell them on your program. And so obviously we talked about this for hours. We could talk about this for so many more hours, but it's basically, if you're just getting on stage and hoping to have paid speaking gigs and working up to that, you're missing out on a ton of other money that could be yours, millions of dollars, as long as you learn how to leverage it and get the systems and stuff in place, which we talked about a little bit before here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the systems in place is probably my biggest key takeaway, right? Like when I would build out, okay, let's go back to my younger 20s, right? When I had a nightclub, right? A restaurant and nightclub. The nightclub was planned a year in advance. There was never going to be an event that I didn't already have bookings for, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a jazz, whatever the occasion was. The whole entire year was planned out. And the other day, somebody called me and said, "Hey, I want to have you speak in October. This event's going to be amazing." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "You mean next month?" They're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, tell me the date. Let me see if I can make it work." He sends me the date and I said, "I can't do it." He's like, "Man, I charge people 50 grand to be on this stage. I'm asking you to come." And I'm like, "I understand. I would love to be there, but I already have an engagement that day. I'm in Arizona that night." And he's like, "You're saying no?" And I'm like, I'm already committed. I'm booked out till February. And in December, sorry, actually I do it in November. Every November I map the next year out. And I put everything in map places because I'm a firm believer in design your life, gain your business, right? So all of my family calendar has been laid out for a year. Then I put in all my speaking engagements, all my summits, my virtuals, my lives, and everything just keeps going from one step to the next because it's planned that way. I was actually shocked the other day. This is Monday afternoon. I'm on a phone call with a speaker, and he says, "I'm doing really well in the keynote industry. I've gotten paid $25,000 to do a keynote for 2 hours." And I said, "Dude, congratulations. That's a good start. How many did you do last year?" And he goes, "Oh, just the one." I said, "Okay, how's your online going? How's your course going? How's your book doing?" It kind of just sits there. Okay, just curious, how do you make your income? I'm a keynote speaker. Well, you just told me you only made 25 grand last year. Yeah, you could be working at Starbucks. You'd make more money. You could show up for the morning crew and make more money than that. And you're not a keynote speaker unless you're booking the whole year out, right? At least one every other month. If you're making 25 grand a month and you can book 6 of those, that's an income. You can get 4 of those and then do your course and get your procedure out. This is why the trifecta was always so perfect for me. It's like I knew I had to have my own workshop, and I knew my radio show was going to get me that online stage because back then it wasn't a podcast, it was a radio show when I started coaching. And I knew these facts, right? Because you said a key point earlier. There's a message being had in the book. One of my mentors says everything that he does, the book comes first, then the course, then the e-learning version, and then the podcast, and then the Facebook group, all supporting the book. And I was like, yeah, that's the old school Brian Tracy, right? 2 books a year came out every single year to support his virtual stuff and his live stuff and to get him on more stages. So the books were just the kickoff for all of it. So if you're not having that system procedure put in place right now, that's why the impact's not being made, because it's not truly being treated like a business. You would not have a restaurant that didn't have a seasonal menu, or at least have a staple that changed when October hit or springtime hit. You're still serving biscuits and gravy, and all of a sudden it's 125 degrees in Arizona. Nobody's coming to eat. You have to build a procedure that goes through. You don't run your ice cream shop in the middle of dead winter in Tahoe. You actually have different things, hot cocoa, things that you bring in. The business person knows this ahead of time. But
I love
sometimes,
Oh, sorry to
no, go
run
ahead.
granted. I was just gonna say, observing you and thinking about just business owners who are successful in general, the more successful you are as a business owner, the farther out you plan ahead. Is what I've noticed, right? Like whenever you just get started, you're like, what am I doing next month? Let me scramble and get something, right? And then you kind of look at the year, and then the more successful people get, it's like they've got a 30-year plan going on. And so you make a plan or you plan to fail, right? And there's a lot of different routines, so we don't want to like overwhelm you, especially if you're just getting started, like, oh my gosh, I've got to have this and this and this and this and this, and how does it all fit together? But just like super simple, if you just want to create a super simple system, hey, you get your application bundle together, right? Like your speaker bundle together. That's like your job application that you're going to submit to all these people, right? So you got that together. Then you just go out and you book on other people's stages, right? And then once you get on that stage, you're going to need to show them something. So you've got an offer that's back here, whether that's a course or maybe it's just coaching. That's easy. You don't have to have a fancy page. If you're going to do coaching, you're just like, hey, book a call with me. Let's coach, right? And so you got your stuff. You get booked out on stages, you speak, you say, okay, work with me. You got an offer on the back end. That's it. And then you'll add some tech in, and then you'll add your own, some of these other steps in place, like Brandon's talking about, where you bring them into your podcast and your own stage, and you bring them into, maybe you have your own, like Tony Robbins, you have your own big retreats that you start doing. But you can just add those as you go. But super, super simple is just, you have your speech, you have your offer, and then you start building the stuff that's going to nurture around them.
Absolutely. And remember, this is just a bonus to kick off the week for you guys. One of my favorite, I'm probably going to hack it, but you can't connect the dots looking forward, right? But you can always connect them looking backwards, right? You're like, man, if I would have done that, and that. One of my worst ones that I always look at, and this is something that came up in church last night. He said, man, that one time that I should have invested in myself, but instead I went to the Gap and I bought these jeans that I wanted. And I was 25 years old and I had to have these pants, and they were like $65, but I could have bought a share in stock in Apple that day. And then it split 13 times the next year. And then the next day I could have split, cashed out half, bought into Amazon. So looking forward didn't look too appealing. Looking backwards, you're going, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But you can now. There are so many people that have already been, the Russell Brunson quote, there are so many people ahead of you that have already taken the arrows in the back and know the proven path to success. But you got to sit down and map it. If your goal is to make $200,000 as a speaker, author, or coach, then you need to put the conversion events into place to make sure that those conversions equal numbers that are going to drive that traffic to the level you need it at. Because you can't just hit the ground running and go, I'm just going to tap into a brand new industry, not drive traffic, don't convert leads, and not have conversion events. And next month, it's all going to come to me. One of my favorite just lessons I've learned this year was from Ben Newman, right? He says, it's great to trust the process. That's not enough. You've got to attack the process. So you can lay the process out. God can lay down a foundation in front of you, a vision. You can have a spiritual melt drop into you like, oh man, this is my calling. But if you don't lay it out and attack it like a business owner, like a person with a heart that wants to change the world on a daily basis, the impact will just disseminate. So don't just trust the process, attack that process, make that process part of your daily habit. I just was talking to someone just right before this phone call. Don't let your Facebook community absorb you. Get in there and attack the process that you want those people to go through with you, and attack it on a daily basis, and go in there and show up for them how they need you. But also remember that I got homeschool at 1 o'clock. I need to be at a meeting at 3 o'clock. I got date night with my significant other at 7 p.m. tonight. Don't let your business take over your life. Design your life, gain your business by growing them together. So we're just on here today to say you're going to hear some very impactful speakers over this next month. It's going to change your world. But only you can attack the process. Only you can make the impact in the world. You can hire the best coach in the world, and if you don't do what he says, you're just an asshole trying to build your business without doing what you were told, without planning that map, without attacking it on a daily basis. Everyone in my world knows that I tell them it's just 6 good conversations a day. You know how fast you can have 6 good conversations in a day? It's not 8 hours. Sometimes it only takes an hour. Sometimes you have 6 10-minute conversations that equal that hour. I
Or you
had
could jump on an
3.
event. You could jump on a stage and you could have 60 conversations in an hour, right?
Exactly. And when you walk off, 10% of them love you, and those 6 walk right up to you because now the client attraction has been built. So what we're going to teach you over this whole month with this summit is that it is easy if you map it and you attack it and you build it like a true business. Then every day you will make that impact in the person's life that you were meant to serve. So I just want to thank you for being here today. And I really want to thank Michelle. I've learned so much from Michelle over this last year, and just jumping into her networking groups. And she helps me with so much stuff on the virtual stage side and just kind of honing in speeches. And I mean, I just told you in the testimony the other day, it's like, I love it when somebody comes through your academy, works with you, and then comes onto a stage with me. They're just ready. They already know what their intention is. They know what the goal is. They know why they're there. So I just want to thank you, Michelle, for really just showing up, right? I've never had someone call me and go, I'm not sure where to go next. Wait, you're Michelle's student? Never, not once. You're Michelle's student? I want on your stage, Brandon. I want to be at this summit. I want to be at this live event. I want to be at this virtual event. I want to get on this podcast with you. Their intention is so straightforward, and I love it. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. It's been a pleasure. And again, I'm just so looking forward to everybody's presentation and what you have to offer, just sharing your message and your energy with the world. And as you listen to other people, even just this brief conversation, every time I listen to Brandon, you get jazzed up and it gives you that momentum to go out and do it yourself. And you see those small tweaks every single day of, what do I need to do today to get just that much closer. So just looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Have fun, peeps, hang out, stay around, stick around, ride the wave for the next month. That's going to take you to your next level.
Yeah. So Michelle, you're more than welcome to bounce out or stay. I love it. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to do a quick little house cleaning thing for all of you guys. So each day, okay, so this on-demand summit is going to be posted into the group where you can leave the group and go and watch all the speakers on the on-demand playlists that are in the group. It's going to kick off in groups of 4 to 6 speakers in each launch. Today at 3 p.m. will be set for the schedule for tomorrow. And then tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, each day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there will be a release of the showcase speakers. Then we're going to be promoting them back into the group so you can catch the showcases. And then each different showcase is going to have an option for you to resonate with that crowd, resonate with that speaker, resonate with that message that's coming off. So you'll see Michelle's showcase, you'll see my showcase, you're going to see some bonus trainings and other showcases from Forbes Riley, David Meltzer. There's just so many people giving value in this summit. This summit isn't a sales summit. We're not here for a big pitch fest. We're here to say this is why we do what we do in the world. This is the impact that we are setting out to make. This is our vision. This is our dream. This is why we help the people that we do. And the whole thing is built around hope. Help one person every day. If out of all the people in this group, over 2,000 people in this Facebook community, over 2,000 people through the summit, just driving through the registrations, the landing pages, the emails being promoted by the speakers, if each one of us just helps one person get through that next level, reach that next tier, that next milestone in their journey, that's what this summit is about. This isn't a huge money play. We're not out here just saying we want to be rich as speakers. We want to change the world. And I'll tell you right now, as a speaker, right? There's paid speaking, there's pay to play speaking, and there's earned speaking. I've done them all. And I can tell you the most impact I ever made was some of the free stages that I volunteered to come and speak at. And those 6 people walked up and said, I need to work with you. So I want you to think about that as you're watching these speakers today. There's someone in this group that was meant to be here for you. There's somebody in this summit who showed up today, who showed up tomorrow, who showed up this month because you needed to hear from them. So I want you to keep that in mind when you're in this summit and think about like all the things that are going on, how we're going to be able to help each other to grow that impact maker society, to be the people who lean in on each other. Drop in the group today, introduce yourself, tell them why you're on this mission. Introduce yourself from your heart on why you do what you do. This isn't just about the speakers that are showcasing. I'll tell you right now, predominantly this group is speakers, authors, coaches, and consultants. They're all wanting to absorb and learn. And I'm okay. I am not the smartest. I am not the best. I am not the guru in this community. I'm just here to facilitate, right? I'm just the host. I'm happy. I'm bubbly. I love coming out and having fun. Let's have some fun in this summit. Let's make sure that everybody goes home smiling. So I want to thank you all. I can't wait to serve with you. Bye for now. Catch you on the next one. I don't even, oh, we're live. I got to stop the live even. Man, see, this is why I needed my tech lady on today. She says, oh no, I thought your summit was Wednesday through Friday. It is, but I'm going live on Tuesday. Are you available? I need you to run my tech. All right, you guys. Enough joking aside. I love you all. See you on the next one.